Hello Internet, and welcome to a new tutorial. So for the last couple of years, I've been using the Neutron to create exactly the same patch over and over and over again, which is the squelch. Now, don't get me wrong, this synthesizer is amazing for squelches, especially with this filter it has, but I know that the Neutron is way more than just squelches. You know, it's like I found this comfort zone with it, like my cozy place, if that makes sense, and I just didn't step out of it, if that makes sense. So recently I've decided, you know what, it's time. I have to step out of my comfort zone and rediscover my Nitron, create new patches with it, get like new ideas, and this is exactly what I did. And I've created what I consider to be the most, or one of the most chaotic patches I've made with it so far. And I want to show you this patch today because this is one of the patches that you record a bunch of it and just cherry pick the parts that you like, throw them in your track to get like this chaotic psychedelic feel, or maybe just use it to create crazy wavetables. I don't know, the possibilities are endless. And yeah, this is sound design territory, no limits. So yeah, today I want to show you this patch. And before we dive into the tutorial, if you'd like to support the channel, you can consider becoming one of my patrons. Buy my presets on Gumroad. And if you like content like this, don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a comment. Things like that helps the channel a lot. Now with that said, let's dive into this tutorial. So first of all, we need to prepare the synthesizer. I'm going to use the second oscillator in here. You can use the first one, whatever you like. I'll set the oscillator to full range mode. And the filter, I'm going to set it to bandpass, give it some resonance. And now we have this. Yeah, kind of like an acidic patch in here. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'll set the LFO to, well, first of all, I want it to blend between the shapes. So to do so, we're going to hit key sync in here. And see the paraphonic button here? It's blinking. So when it'll throbe, the LFO now will blend between the shapes. So I'll exit the mode by pressing the key sync button here, and check this out. It's blending. So I'm going to set it to sol, basically exactly in the middle. And what we're going to do, we'll create a chaotic source of modulation using the LFO. I'll show you how in a bit. Now the envelopes in here, the second one, I won't be using it today. And the first one, just set it to 0 attack, full sustain, and no release. Basically an on-off kind of envelope, like a gate on, gate off thing. So we have this. Nothing too special. Now let's create our source of modulation, the chaotic one from the LFO. So to do so, it's really simple. I'll take the bipolar output of the LFO, positive, negative output, and I'll use it to modulate the shape. And that's why I've set it in the middle, because the bipolar will go to the right and to the left, basically. So let's make it modulate the shape. Perfect. Now I'll set the rate to something fast in here. See, we already have a chaotic thing going on. And I'll take the LFO unipolar output in here, and I'll set it to the mults. I'll tell you why in a few. And I'll take the first mult output in here, and I'll send it to modulate the LFO rate. So now basically the LFO itself is modulating its shape and its rate. And the rate is basically going from lower values to higher values, basically. So let's just leave it like so. Now I want to use this chaotic source of modulation to modulate basically the delay to create our chaotic movement, right? And to do so, I'll take the unipolar output, basically the second one from the mult, which is now chaotic, and I'll send it to the sample and hold to get a stepped random modulation, right? And I'll set the rate of the sample and hold to somewhere in here, basically, like I want it to sample and hold on a fast rate. And I'll take the sample and hold output, basically, where is it? To the first attenuator, so we'll get like a dry and wet knob. And the first attenuator will go to the invert in. Basically, we're inverting the signal. If it's positive, it'll be negative, and if it's negative, it'll be positive. And I'll take the invert output, which is in here, to modulate the delay time, right? Now, All of this hustle that we've just made, not only to create a chaotic source of modulation, but also because I took the unipolar output of the LFO and I fed it to the sample and hold module. Now the sample and hold module is outputting a unipolar modulation, basically. So now, if I'll give it some modulation, just like so, with the attenuator, I'll give it some mix, give it some repeats, I'll keep the time to the most minimum value possible, and I'll play a note and play with the frequency cutoff. Check what we will have. Perfect. Now we have the overdrive circuit in here. To be honest, I want to bypass it. I don't want to distort the sound more than it is, because the thing with the delay of the Neutron is that because it's a BBD delay, it's already really gritty, so I don't want to have more distortion basically going on. So I'll take the VCF output in here and I'll send it to the VCA and we will bypass the overdrive circuit. So now we have this. Cleaner sound, right? Now, if I'll turn on my random sequencer, play the pattern, and play with the frequency of the filter and the tuning of the oscillator, check what we will have. Pretty crazy, right? Now, what we can do to spice up the sound a little bit, first of all, we can sync the sample and hold to the MIDI gate. So I'll just take the MIDI gate output in here and I'll send it to the sample and hold clock. Just like so. We have a spaghetti of cables already. And what I'll do too, I'll use the first oscillator to modulate the pitch of the second oscillator, basic FM. And I'll do so by connecting the output of the first oscillator to the input of the second oscillator. And to spice things up, and especially because I only have two hands, what I'll do, I'll use the assign output in here to send random velocity values coming from the computer, from the random sequencer, to the oscillator 1 pitch in here to create basically a random FM thing going on. So we'll add more chaos and more weirdness to the sound. So assign output to the oscillator 1 pitch input in here. And if you don't know how to set the assign output to velocity, just press the oscillator sync like so and check what the LFO shape is. Basically, when it's on ramp down like this, this means that it's sending velocity values from MIDI. And now if I'll set the first oscillator to full pitch mode, like so, full range, and I'll set it to a lower pitch, just like so, so we'll get like a range of modulation, and I'll play a random sequence, check what we will have. We got even juicier results with the square on, right? Now, if I'll give it some delay and a kick and bass, check what we will have. That was way too much delay. Let's give it a bit less delay and let's play it again. So yeah, this is the chaotic patch I've been telling you about all this time. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. And yeah, I'm going to leave some samples for my Patreons from this patch and other patches for sure. So you can go and check that out over there. And yeah, with this is the end of this tutorial. I really hope you've liked it. I really hope you've learned something new, and see you next time.